So I made a decision. Welcome, guys. If anybody comes in here, and because this is a recorded stream, I am slowly starting to add on to the ballparks in which I have scheduled to make and the different versions of them, and I'm just going all out. So, 1910 version of League Park is done. 1930 to 1940. So 1910 to 1929 version. Um, what's up, Kitchen? Sean, how you doing? Working on Angel Stadium, 1966 was good. So I decided that I am going to be working on building these ballparks in MLB The Show 24 because MLB Show 25 is trash. The stadium creator is still screwed up in that mode. I don't need to go into any details. All you got to do is check back in the videos that I made last month or the month before, and you'll know that they haven't worked on anything and probably don't plan to, don't care to. I have been through enough disappointment between the Orioles, Mike Elias, and this game to last me my lifetime. So what I'm doing is I'm going to build in MLB The Show 24. The reason being is that MLB The Show 24 minus a few glitches in which I will probably tweak in 25 has a very cohesive and, well, it actually knows what ballpark you're working on without it calling it something else. I plan to work in that. If I had MLB Show 23, I'd probably be doing that because apparently the files can transfer over here. So look at it like this, okay? It's kind of like you have a laptop. The new laptop you got was trash and it broke on you, but you still have one left over. So you can transfer all the work that you had just by proxy over to the other laptop and work on it while it's being worked on. That's the situation I'm dealing with right here. And so that's that. So I'm working on phase one of Angel Stadium 1966. And cohesively at the same time, what I'm going to be doing, which I should have been doing before, and I might do new now, is I might start adding on to other versions that I want to do in real time, succinctly and cohesively together. Kind of like, you know, the way people film like a two movies together, back to back. It's a lot easier that way. So I have a lot of ballparks to do and outline. I still would like to do, what's it called? Qualcomm Stadium, which there'll be different versions of that. No, Sean, the issue with the Orioles is the following. The issue with the Orioles is the following, and this has been a long time coming. Mike Elias has had 7 years here, and I think giving him 8 years or 8 years is not enough. I think he needs to be fired. This Tony Manzanillo guy is a bum. He's a joke. He shouldn't even be in a position. Mike Elias has no idea what he's done in regards to establishing pitching. And the players in which he put up there that were supposed to be game changers haven't done anything. And so he drafted these young players. They're never going to be ready. They've been in this organization for about 6 to 5 years now. And they're never going to be ready to be called up. You call up Kobe Mayo. Guess what they're doing with Kobe Mayo? They purposely give him 11 starts this month in July. You drafted him to be the future. And then upon drafting him to be the future, you then put O'Hearn over him. You put Urias at first base over him. You do all this stuff. This is what led to Kyle Stowers not being here. Not one Orioles fan who, within their right mind, sat up here and was perfectly okay with Stowers not being here. Stowers, and you'll listen to your harebrained, half-brained, dim-witted Orioles fans in this town who are rebuild heads who will say to themselves, well, Stowers would have never been here. You listen to Jeremy Conn, that gambling addict, okay, on 105.7, the fans say the same crap. Oh, well, you know, he would have never had a place here. He would have never had a place here. No, he would have had a place here. But you kept going out, Mike Elias, and signing trash players to put over him so that he would never be able to start. And then you traded him away. And then he comes back a year later and belts 3 home runs against you in your own ballpark. And he's doing the same thing to Kobe Mayo. He did the same thing to Kerstad. He did the same thing to all of them. He goes out, he gets these trash players. You sign Sugano for $13 million. Sugano is not a pitcher. He's 35 years old. He's never pitched in Major League Baseball at all. They've caught on to him now, and they've exploited him. So every time he gets up there and he screws up and throws something that's wrong, it's home run derby. And people trusted this hack to sit up here and draft yet again, and all he did was draft the same thing. He drafted these wheat-haired white boys who are going to be on the team. They're going to get up here and are just going to sit and rot. Or when you do put them in, they don't develop any skill sets or any positions, so they do like Gunnar Henderson and throw massive amounts of errors and screw up all the time and swing at the dirt. These players, by the way, see, this is the thing. And I wasn't going to get into it, but I'll get into it. This is the problem here, okay? And I really want to get on this. I've been alive long enough to remember the Buck Showalter era, okay? And how that era consisted of nothing but beer, softball league style of mentality of gameplay, where it was home runs, home runs, home runs, home runs. Live by the home run, die by the home run. And the biggest thing that Mike Elias was supposed to do was supposed to come in with this analytical small ball type of play where the players are going to come up and they're going to be smart and they're going to hit and they're going to be patient at the plate and they're going to turn balls into walks and turn strikes into home runs and hits. That's what they were supposed to do. Okay? That's what the whole analytical stuff was supposed to do. That's what Mike Elias and all these nerds that are in the warehouse were supposed to do. Now you got players that don't know how to hit. So Jackson Holliday gets up there. He's inconsistent. Everybody talks all this wonderful stuff about him. He strikes out just as much. Mountcastle's still Mountcastle. He does the old Adam Jones things where he swings that ball in the dirt. You got Urias. He gets up there. He strikes out. You got O'Hearn. They get up there. They strike out. Nobody hits anything. No one's consistent. No one sees the ball. No one does anything. Like, this is the biggest house of cards anyone has ever seen. I forgot who the person was, but the person, I think it was with MLB or whatever, said that the Orioles' first half is historically one of the most disappointing and just loser-esque they have ever seen an American League team in Major League history. This is an abject failure. All through the board. Failure. The fact that any Orioles fan, and I have been, arguing with all these fools this whole entire season, threatened by them, called a fair weather fan, called all this stuff. Baltimore has a problem. Okay, and this is the problem in Baltimore, all right? Baltimore suffers from the sweetheart syndrome, okay? People like Jason Lockenfor, people like Nestor, if this was Philadelphia or New York, they would be given awards for what they say. They're probably one of the only few, other than Bob Haney and maybe a few rest of them, who will reserve their real takes on the radio, who actually have the balls to sit up here and actually say what's going on. The fact that you have a GM that have been a owner of that, the fact that you have a GM that's been in charge of this team for over 7 years, mustered no playoff wins, no World Series titles, nothing. All the players he draft, they never play. Kobe Mayo, not ready. Gunnar Henderson has regressed. All of this stuff. Where are the young players? That's what the point of the rebuild was. The point of the rebuild was to sit up there and watch meaningless baseball with bums in which you trash heap for, to sit up there and draft players so that by the time it came to draft the players and put the players on the team, right now you're supposed to be reaping the benefits. Now you're not reaping anything. Because Mike Elias is a fraud, and Mike Elias has no idea what he's doing. He is a fraud. He is a fraud to this owner. And he is a fraud in general. And the only reason why it worked for him in Houston, and I keep telling people this, I'm going to say it again. It worked for him in Houston because of one thing and one thing only. It worked because you had an owner in Houston that was going to put a fire under his butt and tell him, listen, enough of this rebuild stuff. We're ready to go. I want to kick the tires and light the fires on these pitchers. Let's get Verlander. Let's get Scherzer. Let's go out there and let's get some players. Let's get a bullpen. Let's get some stuff going. Stop screwing around and get it going. You don't have that in Baltimore. And so that's why you look around. You have no pitchers in the minors leagues, because for some reason he had no clue, as in to sit up there and draft players and draft pitching and all this stuff, which you do need to win in this league. All what Mike Elias wants to do is Mike Elias thrives on being the anti-Dodgers. That's it. This is his ego project. Fans be damned. Fans don't matter in all of this. He actually thinks he's smarter than the fans. The Orioles themselves actually think they're smarter than the fans. That's why they're now charging $15, for bleacher seats that no one's going to buy and no one's going to pay for. Okay? He went out this offseason, okay, and got Tyler O'Neill. He let Anthony Santander walk. He brought Tyler O'Neill in, who everybody knows is injury prone. Okay? See, no one learns from history. No one learns from history. And when you come to this channel, you're gonna get some history. You're gonna walk away with a full stomach when it comes to smarts and knowledge and something. You ain't gonna get no trash here. I want every Orioles fan to understand this and what I say. I want an Orioles fan, if you're an Orioles fan and you've come across this stream, there's only one book you need to read, okay, about the Orioles. I say this all this it's written by John Eisenberg. It's called From 33rd to Camden Yards. It covers from 1954 to 2006. The second book, if you choose to read it, is The Last Manager. It's a story about Earl Weaver. Now, there comes a part that covers both of them. In between the dynasty years of 1966 to 1970, okay, and before that, you had the foundation being laid from 1954 to 1965, okay? The Oriole Way was born in 1954 to 1965. It culminated in 1966 to 1971. Okay, into the 70s. And this is what it culminated with. The Orioles will always be successful if they have one thing and one thing only. Okay, actually two things. Solid pitching, great defense, fundamental hitting, which is three things. Okay, and from 1954 to 1965, you have players set up in the minors and brought up all the way up into the majors to learn the Oriole way. If you brought in a free agent, the free agent wasn't going to tell you about what was happening in other places. They were going to learn what is the Oriole way. That's where you get Brooks Robinson from. That's where you get Blair from, Paul Blair from. That's where you get Jim Palmer from. That's where you get Boog Powell from. That's where you get all those players from. They all came from the farm system. Now, here's what the book will tell you. Here's why the Orioles fell off after 1983, okay? They fell off after 1983 for one reason and one reason only. They lacked everything that they built in the farm system to continue being a successful and respectful franchise, meaning Cal Ripken Jr. was the last of the Oriole way that was drafted from 1955 to 1979 into 1980 to 81 to 82 and 83. So by the time you get into the mid-80s, guess what the problem is with the Orioles? They started signing free agents. The free agents that they started signing didn't give a rat's ass about the Orioles way. Because you know why? Because they were signing players from New York who would come in and talk about the Yankees. They would sign players from Chicago, sign players from LA, sign players from the Angels, sign players from Oakland. And you had a whole team of vagabonds, mercenaries, people who didn't give a rat's ass about the Orioles way. So, history repeats itself. What's the biggest problem you got going on right now with the Orioles? It's the Mike Elias way. It's not the Oriole way. This guy went out and signed Tyler O'Neill. Tyler O'Neill is not a leader. He's an injury-prone mercenary. This guy doesn't give a rat's tail about Baltimore. He doesn't care about the Orioles. He's here to make his money. He's here to throw to home plate when he should be throwing to a different fielder because he sucks with fielding and he sucks with hitting. He's 3 for 25. He hasn't done a single thing since he got here, and you signed him to a multi-year deal and you let Santander walk. All you got to do is read the book. Whenever the Orioles are failing, whenever the Orioles are in the position they're in right now, understand one thing. It will always happen with a bad GM and an okay owner. If you have a bad owner and an okay GM, you'll get mediocrity. Vice versa, you will get mediocrity. When you get an okay owner, but a good GM, you're going to get a little bit of success. That's where the Buck Showalter era kicks in. Peter Angelos was one of the worst owners this team had. Ran off every single ounce of grace that this team had from the dynasty era. Okay? So there's a pattern here. You can see why the Orioles fail. When the Orioles don't have a structured farm system, they have no talent to bring up. You have no talent to bring up here. Mike Elias is a fraud. If you had so much faith in your prospects, if you had so much faith in Colby Mayo, if you have so much faith in Sam Basayo, if you have so much faith in your pitching and everybody who you drafted in the minors, you should have them called up. It's July 22nd. You're really not going anywhere, and you guys play like crap like this to have it like this. So you should call up your players. He doesn't call them up. When he does call them up, guess what they do? They never start them. So how in the world are you going to get experience on a team when you never get on the mound and play, or you don't get on the diamond and play? This man has no clue how to go from rebuild state to contender state. Everything that has happened to him on this team from this point so far has been because of luck. That's it. Because he couldn't read that when 2022 came and they were getting red hot down the stretch, what's the first thing he did? He started selling players off the team. And then when he did the trade deadline, he brought in trash that he knew was going to sabotage the team and not have them do anything. He did the same thing in 2023. And I had to sit up here and listen to every single clown in this state, in this town, in this city, okay, talk about, oh, it's all a part of the process. We're ahead of schedule. You're ahead of schedule. People, this isn't machines. This is human beings you're dealing with. You're dealing with people. When you start winning in baseball, you have to start striking while the fire is hot. You have to start striking while the iron is hot. You can't sit back and say, oh, okay, they're ahead of schedule. 2027, they'll actually be there. In 2028, they'll be there. 2025, they're supposed to be there. We actually have these delusional clown shoes in this city sit up here and say these things and still think, oh, this is just a hiccup. This is just an anomaly. No, it's not an anomaly. Mike Elias ill-prepped this team. That's why you are where you are. That's why you have the problems that you got. It's not a coincidence that this happens. This man went out and legit thought that getting a 35-year-old Japanese rookie who never pitched a single inning in baseball, in Major League Baseball, where the most top flight people play baseball, and it's been that way for 30-some years, 160-some years, it's been like this. He thought he could outsmart the system. And what's happening to Sagano? Sagano getting lit up every single time you see him. He getting lit up because they got film on him. These are Major League Baseball players. These are people who see a ball going 86 miles per hour and their eyes are sharp and keen enough to hit the damn thing out the park. This is all on Mike Elias. Do not let anybody tell you anything different. This man has no clue what he's doing. He has no clue how to go from rebuild into a professional GM. Everything he does from post-rebuild to now has been mediocre. His trades, mediocre. He doesn't know what talent to keep. He doesn't know what to get because everything to him is machines. Everything to him is numbers. And that's why you have Kyle Stowers down in Miami walking off games with home runs, and you got a team up here that's 10 games under 500 yet again. The third time this season 10 games under 500. And all they know how to do is be mopey, soapy, sad, and feel pity for themselves. Meanwhile, people out here brought tickets for $700, $600, $800, $900 for season tickets. That's what we deal with here in this city. That's what we deal with. The people who are smart know that Michael Elias was a fraud. Know that this dude is just a snake oil salesman. He has no clue what he's doing as a GM right now. And you can tell by his trades. You can tell by his works. By the tree you shall judge the fruit that it bears. And his tree bears no fruit. It is that simple, that cut and dry. If you want to know why the Orioles are not succeeding, it is very simple. All you have to do is look at the system up at the top, because the Orioles failed a long time ago the same way they're failing now. And when you see the Orioles succeed, you will know the formula for why they succeed. You have a talented farm system. You have people from single A teaching the same philosophies that you're going to get in triple A. And you got people in triple A that are going to make sure that when you get to the Orioles, you're going to be doing just as everything as you learn from single A to triple A. It has always been that way. And when they did it with Rochester, when they did it with Bowie, when they did it with Frederick, I don't care who they're with. When they had that success, they won when they got into the majors. You don't have that. Because Mike Elias has no idea what he's doing. All he does is hire a bunch of yes men around him who are never going to question him and are never going to do anything. The Orioles fired a guy who's been within their training and injury recovery system for over 40-some years, dating back to Memorial Stadium. Now, all of a sudden, they have all these injuries. Do you know Mike Elias ain't going to comment on that? But this is what they want you to pay money for. This is what they want you to go and drive all the way down to the city, pay $20 to $30 for parking, go in, spend money on them tall, cold, expensive beers that you got to take a loan out on, spend $35 for some fries and some burgers that you can get from right up the street for about $7. I'm telling you something straight up. Dash In has the best burgers you can get for cheap. You can buy them for $7. You get you a burger meal, okay? $7. You literally just cut into how much you owe when you go to their ballpark to pay that. And you're sitting up there watching a bunch of sorry-ass players not show up for their city, not show up for their team, and sit up here and say all this crap. There was an article that came out, I think, last month or so. I'll finish this rant, and I'll go on with this because it's going to be 5 o'clock. There was an article from the Banner, the Baltimore Banner, last month, talking about the Orioles. The Orioles players don't feel at home when they play here. No one cheers when no one does this. You have people who are in the front office who makes millions of dollars are clueless. It's the emperor's new clothes. Everyone goes around and everyone acts like David Rubenstein is the stupidest person on the face of this planet, and he has no idea. And all they do is just whisper in his ear, "Oh, it's new clothes. It's new clothes. It's new clothes. It's invisible. We brought the best people to come in here and sew you an invisible robe." Everybody sees him walking around butt-ass naked, but everybody still got to sit up here and try and convince him and convince other people until the girl screams out and says he's naked, that what you're being sold is a bill of bad goods. That's it. This is a fraud. What's going on with this organization right now is a sham. You have a GM who has no clue what he's doing. All he does is draft the same players all the time. And I'm not trying to make it about race, not trying to do nothing. All I'm saying is, look at all he drafts. All he ever drafts is the same player. He drafts the same 19 to 22-year-old white boy with the same frumpy blonde hair. When Kyle Stowers came up Kyle Stowers came up, Gunnar Henderson came up, Adley Rutschman, they all look the same. That's all you get. They get the same frumpy white boys that, 21, 22, that have spotty hitting. They have no defense, and Mike Elias looks at it and he says, go. It's the same way how with the Ravens, when they used to draft Alabama players, he has a type. Everybody and their mama knows that Dominican players is what makes baseball successful in today's time. I ain't saying don't pick nobody else. I'm saying you need to look at where your success is coming from. Half your players who are making and hitting home runs now in the league, last name Baez, Rodriguez, Dominguez, all of them. And they're coming from Puerto Rico. They're coming from the Dominican. They're coming from Cuba. They're coming from the places. Where are those players? Michael I is supposed to be this great guy when it comes to scouting. All you're doing is getting the cornbread, chicken-fed white boy from Nebraska. Where's the other people that you're getting on your team that's supposed to win? You got Sam Basayo. Call him up. What are you doing? You got stupid people in this town seriously thinking that the reason why we're not winning games is because Adley Rutschman's injured. Did you see his numbers before he got injured? I can't do it no more. You know, I'm getting too old for this. You know what I'm saying? When, like, the Orioles, I'm going to put this in perspective here. These are numbers. These are numbers to put in perspective. From 1983, okay, to 1996, the Orioles only appeared in one playoff series since the World Series win. From 1984 to 1996, we're talking 12 years, okay? In 12 years' time, the Orioles never touched the playoffs until 1996. So when they first touched the playoffs, I was 6 years old. Actually, no, correction, I was 7 years old. I was actually in elementary school. Okay, that was that year they played against the Yankees with that boy that cheated up in the Bronx. Okay, and grabbed a home run. I was there for that. I saw all that. The next year, I'm 8 years old. No, 9, excuse me. 7 and 9 years, no, 8 and 9. Okay, they come back. So we're talking in my lifetime, I saw them go to the playoffs. In my early lifetime, I saw them go 2 times, 1 at 8, 1 at 9. The next year is 1998. So from 1988 to 2012, they didn't touch anything. They were in last place every single ounce of them years until 2012 when they went to the playoffs. So 1998 to 2012. I'm 24 years old. 8, 9, 24. They go back to the playoffs again in 2014 and basically drop an egg and shit themselves and don't go to the World Series that year. So now we're talking 26. 8, 9, 24, 26. They don't touch playoffs again until 2016. So now we're talking 28. Okay? They don't touch a playoff again until 2023. 35. Then they don't go to the playoffs again until the next year. So 36. 8, 9, 24, 26, 28, 35, 36. Orioles in the past 29 years been to the playoffs 7 times. 7 times the Orioles have been in those playoffs. It has spanned a generation, meaning that when they came around when I was 8, 9, the vast majority of people that come to this stream and talk or graduated college or graduated high school or are having bachelorette parties or having bachelor parties or working and are in the Army weren't even existing. Weren't even existing. You have a whole generation of people who've never seen the Orioles succeed or win or do anything. The last time they touched a World Series, Reagan was president, and they won 5 years before I was born. I think this fan base deserves to simply say, I'm done going to your games. I'm done with this product. But the problem is people in Baltimore are so chicken shit when it comes to them standing up for stuff that the first person they defend are the players, the front office, and the ownership. And the last person that they criticize and want to jump on are the fans. And that's the only problem I have in this town. That if this happened, in Philadelphia or New York, Mike Elias is gone. There is no we fired the skipper. No, you're gone too. You're packing your bags. You're packing your TI-83. You're getting the rest of your little number nerds out here, and you're vacating the area by the end of sundown. You're gone. And they would have found a GM. There's numerous of competent GMs out here itching to come into Camden Yards and do something. I would find them. But Mr. Magoo, who's the owner, has no clue that this guy is misleading him and lying to him. He has no plan. He has no structure. And if you think next year is going to be different with the same group of people, then you deserve to be sold a bridge. Bottom line. Because if it doesn't take much for me, when I was in the ballpark, when Gunnar Henderson struck out against the Royals in the AL wild card, I was there for 2 games. Okay? I was there for 2 games. I saw it. Walking out of that stadium, it was clear and evident what you needed. This team is immature. The superstars you have are immature. They run the place like the way the criminals run the insane asylum. You have no boss. You have no leaders. It is wise for you to get veteran pitching, veteran hitting, so that you can come in and clean up the lineup. And you know Mike Elias didn't do any of that? This dude gets paid millions of dollars to sit up here and not know what the hell he's doing. So you know what? I have the right to suggest this and say this. I have the right to suggest this and say this. They can do whatever they want to do. Training camp starts today. Because when I grew up, that's what we used to do with the Orioles. The Orioles became such a laughing stock in Baltimore by the time I was growing up that the minute opening day came, it was opening day where people filled the ballpark to training camp. And it was like, well, let's sit back and see what the Ravens do this year. And so that's how it went. And if that's what Mike Elias wants, and if that's what David Rubenstein wants, and if that's what all the rest of these clown shoes down there at Camden Yards wants, guess what? You're going to get it. You're going to get it. Because people are not going to stick by and stand this crap that's happening right now. We went through 4 years of a rebuild just to go into another rebuild. And Mike Elias has no plan. He is in over his head. He got pitchers that can't pitch, hitters that can't hit. He got developers that are not developing. He has no clue how to do any of this stuff. It is gone. There's no hope. There's no dreams. There's nothing. Mike Elias has altered Camden Yards more times than he's signed extensions. Okay? They're already taking out seats in the bleacher section to put this new big screen TV in there come next year. Because that's supposed to bring in fans. These people are delusional. Rubenstein's delusional. All of them are delusional. It's supposed to be a philanthropy project. Okay? They're delusional. And as Orioles fans, I've sat up here for most of my life with an owner who cared nothing about the fans and did everything in his power to sabotage this team and take a once storied franchise and run it into the ground. The same thing that happened with the Washington football team. Did the same exact thing there, too, with Daniel Snyder. Daniel Snyder did the same exact thing. FedEx Field, beautiful ballpark. Beautiful stadium until he ruined it. The same thing happened here. And then you get another owner that comes in and is worse than him because when he's not going out like Mr. Magoo's throwing hats at people, he disappears when accountability needs to set. Him, the Katie Griggs person that's supposed to come in here and work on stuff and do marketing, Cal Ripken, which, by the way, untouchable, 21-31, always a legend. But all the rest of them, Mike Elias, they disappear like cowards. No accountability. They say they're going to change stuff. They never change it. This organization is tiresome. So today is the first day of training camp. We have from July 23rd, 2025 until hopefully February of 2026. And hopefully there's a parade in Baltimore come February. Okay? And with that, I'll walk away from this fandom because I'm getting too old for this crap. I'm sick and tired of being gaslit by Nepo baby Ryan Ripken, who always comes through, and Lord knows why he has a podcast and why his podcast is so big, telling everybody the Orioles are always going to be okay when they're never okay, and everybody with an eye and a pair of ears can see this team's in trouble, this organization is crap. Okay? Then you got to deal with all the sycophants around this town that never criticize anything and always gaslight the fans and tell the fans, oh, you're overreacting, you're out of control, when you can see with your eyes that Tyler O'Neill has no business out there on the field. None. He had no business making the money that he made. Sugano has no business being a pitcher in the majors. Okay? Morton has no business being on a roster. This dude does not have it. And they keep throwing him out there and throwing him out there. If you have all these players and you drafted all these players that are so good, put them out there. That was the whole mission of the rebuild, was to have all these players filled. You're supposed to have your Adley Rutschmans, your Gunnar Hendersons, your Westbergs, and your Cowsers and all of them, and that's what they're supposed to be. That's what you're supposed to get, and you're not getting it. You're getting a bunch of bums that Mike Elias dumpster dive for that are now playing over Kobe Mayo. So then Kobe Mayo gets traded. He gets sent to another team. He's going to play better, and it's going to be just like Stowers and just like Connor Norby all over again. Every single thing that is going wrong with this franchise right now is Mike Elias's fault. That's all. Sorry for the rant, but, it's either I rant about the Orioles or I rant about MLB The Show. And I've given so many videos ranting about MLB The Show that it is a moot point now, okay? NCAA football has come out. Nobody cares anymore. So it's just pointless to get into. But that's the thing. Mike Elias he loves them Kansas style farm boys, with the Luke Skywalker hairdo from A New Hope. That's it. That's it. He loves them boys. Meanwhile, the Cuban boys, the Dominican ones, the Puerto Rican ones, they don't see the light of day. That's where your bread is buttered in Major League Baseball. I'm sorry. Like your baseball roster looks like a frat boy team in like South Carolina. Why don't you go draft some players who actually can do something? That's the end of my rant. I love and I just want to be clear with this. I love the Orioles. I wouldn't sit up here and rant and complain like I do if I didn't. But I can't sit up here and give my money, my hard-earned money, to a fan base. I can't give my money to a fan base, to an organization that allows you to sit up here and play with people's intelligence and make it out to be like Mike Elias is the smartest person on the face of this planet and he knows what he's doing, when clearly everyone has seen that this dude has no clue what the hell he's doing. He has no clue. No clue. And you know why he has no clue? Because you haven't won a playoff game in the playoffs ever. That's all. You haven't. When people tell, oh, you could do a better job as GM, you bet your butt I could. I guarantee you I could. Guarantee you I'm not signing Charlie Morton. They only did one thing right one time. They signed Corbin Burns. And instead of going in that direction and signing Corbin Burns, you know what they did? He retracted from it. Hey, if fans want to go and you want to go and take your kids, and run around the bases, because that's our fan base now. We have a bunch of, a basic clueless, surface level, mouth breathing people who just go into that ballpark and don't care about winning. All they care about is, your typical clueless dude that goes and has no idea like who's playing what, why the Orioles wear black and orange and white. All of that stuff while the girls show up with their sugar daddies going to Camden Yards, sitting in the suites. If you want to appeal to those types of people, they're always going to be there. They're always going to be there. The freaking people who show up, even though they say Baltimore City's dangerous to be in, but somehow there's a whole stock full of cars that show up for bobbleheads and T-shirts and jerseys and Hawaiian punch night and whatever crap they do. Those are the people you're going to get. Those people are never going to go away because they're shallow, base-level people. They don't care about, the team. They just care about being entertained. And that's the problem with Camden Yards. Camden Yards is not as legendary as it should be or could be. because it has no World Series. There's no World Series there at all. There's none. There's no World Series games that were held there, only an All-Star game. And how hard do we have to fight tooth and nail to get the All-Star game back to that ballpark, in which everyone says is one of the best ballparks on the face of this baseball planet? So that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get. You're going to run off every single ounce of grace you had with this team. Every ounce of goodwill that you tried to establish has been ruined because of this season. Because no one in their right mind is going to come back. You'll get your diehard people. You know, you'll get your people who are diehards or whatever that you want to call them. I call them suckers. But you're going to get your diehards that'll come back, and they'll buy a couple of tickets. They'll spend $13,000 for season tickets. And then you know what? They'll start drying up too once they realize that you're playing them for a bunch of fools. That's one thing customers don't like. Customers do not like being played like they're a fool and have their intelligence questioned and have all that stuff questioned. They don't. They just don't. No one in their right mind would. It's disrespectful. It's disheartful. I say the same thing about this game here. People who spend hard-earned money don't want to sit up here and play a product from a bunch of people that disrespect them. Because why would you give your money to people who don't respect you? And so that's where you go from. So, you know, they can do whatever they want. I'm out of this. I'm done. I can't do this no more in my life. I'm too old. I need fulfillment. I need happiness. And to keep putting my happiness in things that just are just going to fail me is not fulfilling in my life. I'm only going to be in my 30s for a little bit of time. I'm only on this earth for a little bit of time. You know, sports to me is what I grew up with. I wrote about it. I studied ballparks. I studied uniforms, all that stuff as a kid. When I was a teenager, that's all I had. That's all I cared about. And as I've gotten older, I realized that these shitheads like Mike Elias and Peter Angelos and all these frauds out here just take away the happiness that you had as a child when you care about this stuff. They really do. They really, truly do. They kill it for you. I've literally had, I have so much had an existential crisis this year because of this crap, because of Mike Elias, because of the Orioles. I've had an existential crisis this year, wondering, like, what's my purpose in life? Why am I here? You know, why am I here? I actually had that after the AFC Championship game, too, with the Ravens and the Chiefs. I said, why am I doing this? You know, I'm going out here spending all this money. You know, this stuff used to be fun. It's not fun anymore. Like they sucked the fun out of Orioles baseball is fun. It's about magic. It's about the ballpark. It sucks because of him. I can't do it no more. I can't do it no more. This season has done it for me. I'm done with this. I don't know what they're doing or what, you know, they plan on doing, but I'm done with this. Whatever this is, you know, where you want to sit up here and you want to draft all these terrible shit players that can't do anything. You know, you want to go out, you want to sign Tyler O'Neill, and I have to sit up here and deal with delusional fans cussing me out, saying I'm stupid because I say Tyler O'Neill is not a Major League Baseball he's not a caliber player worth $13 million. And people throwing up numbers of like Anthony Santander in my face. But meanwhile, Tyler O'Neill bends over and ties his shoes, and guess what? He pulls his ab muscle. He's out for 7 months. And then comes back, and then can't play outfielder, and then, you know, throws to, like, this guy, Mike Elias, signed him. He signed him. He signed him. This guy who's supposed to be the greatest GM on the face of this earth, he's supposed to be Mr. Analytics and all this type of stuff, can't sit down and see in front of him that you signing Tyler O'Neill maybe was not a good idea for you. Just maybe. Maybe you could have given Anthony Santander that extra money. Or if you weren't going to bring back Anthony Santander, you could find a better player. Oh, Mullins will be gone. He'll be out of here. Mullins gone soon. Just give it time. He'll be gone. He'll be gone because it's what he wanted. It's what Mike Elias wanted. Mike Elias is just sabotages all this stuff. He sabotages all of it. He is such a fraud. He is a fraud, and he's a coward too. Need I remind people? He's a coward. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. He's a coward. This dude sat up here and fired his manager after parading around for at least a good 2-3 weeks for whatever shoulder on these hashtag fraudulent podcasts that would listen to him. He sat up there and he cried to them. And whoever wanted to listen to him, your Ryan Ripkins and all of them, who tells you the baseball team is fine when you know the team ain't fine. He sat up there and did all that crap. He sat up there and told people, oh, he trusts in the manager, he believes in the manager, the manager's this, the manager's that, all this type of stuff. And then as soon as he gets fired, you know what he does? He doesn't come out and say anything. He doesn't come out during the weekend series on Preakness, which I had a great time with in a tent full of wine. He doesn't say anything that weekend. You know, when he actually goes towards the public, he hides out like a little coward. And then he talks to the media people in Milwaukee, where he knows there's not going to be enough people there that's going to hold him to the fire, that's going to actually hold him accountable, ask questions that need to be asked. No, he's not going to do that. He's going to wait until he leaves so he doesn't get the fire. This is your Orioles, guys. This is your 2025 Baltimore Orioles. That's your team. That's what you got. That's what you got right now. That's your team. And you wonder why the team is full of nothing but a bunch of soft asses who feel sorry for themselves. It's in the banner that Brandon Hyde was talking about that. He told me, he said, these bunch of prima donnas who sit up here and don't take accountability for what they do, and they feel sorry for themselves like a bunch of sad saps. That's what you're paying money for. And then to sit up here and have these delusional little harebrained, half-brained, mouth-breathing fans sit up here and criticize you, say you're not a real fan there, hon, because these Oreos are trying there, hon. You're just a bandwagoner, hon. You should go support the O's there, hon. That's what you hear all the time. They don't attack the real things that need to be attacked. They don't sit up there and attack, Mike Elias or all that stuff. No, they attack you, the fan. I'm done with this shit, bro. I'm over it, man. I'm tired of this, dude. I'm over it. I'm over it. 37, I start thinking about like the stuff I neglected to chase this odyssey, this journey that I've been on. You know what I mean? Sitting up here going to games and supporting the Orioles and all this type of stuff and growing up with Brooks and Cal and Eddie and Earl and all this stuff. And you see this trash that touches this baseball diamond, that wears those uniforms, and they don't give a shit about this town. They don't care about the ballpark. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about anybody. All they care about is themselves. And they got the nerve to come out with an article and say, oh, it doesn't feel like we play for the home team here. What are you talking about? When's the last time you lived in Baltimore? None of these Orioles players live in Baltimore. That's not the way it used to be back in the day, where, like Brooks Robinson, Frank Robinson, Boog Powell, all them guys used to live up down York Road in Timonium. John Unitas, when he played for the Colts, used to live in Timonium and Towson. They actually lived here with people. They shopped at the same stores you shopped at. They went to the same places you went to. They went to the same churches, the same schools, the same stuff. You don't feel like it's home. What have you done for the fans? You got to be. It's gotten so. This baseball product has gotten so high off their own farts They have to seriously sit up here now and be told to be cool to kids and sign autographs. Because you know those players wouldn't do it if it was up to them. Cal Ripken, when he was playing, would stand outside for hours and sign baseballs for kids. It don't feel like you're playing for the home team. Well, maybe you should actually, play that role for yourself a little bit too. Baseball player, sign, anonymous, a coward who's in, the locker room who don't want to put a name to the statement. Oh, it doesn't feel like home here. Well, maybe you should make it feel like home. Do you live here? No, you don't. You live in some freaking town, some Montana place. You go back to Tennessee and Wisconsin. You don't even care about Baltimore, but you want Baltimore to care about you. I'm tired of it, bro. I'm telling you, I'm tired. I've been through enough this year between MLB Show and this team to last me a lifetime. I'm done with this. I hate to sound like that old fart, but I don't like where sports is going. I really don't. I don't like where sports is going, and it's been going this way for 50 years now. In all honesty, and it finally culminated to where these players are out of touch. The owners are out of touch, the players are out of touch, and some of the fans are out of touch, as in like what we're really here for. And you sign a player like Tyler O'Neill, this dude comes through, he doesn't give a crap about Baltimore. He doesn't give a crap about none of this stuff. He's not even well enough to even see Baltimore. He turns his neck, he freaking gets injured. I can't do it no more. I'm done with this. Whatever this crap is, whatever this product is that they're trying to shove down fans' throats, I can't do it no more. I can't do it no more. I can't sit up here and be gaslit by people, and be told that that what you see with your eyes is not the truth. It's not the truth. All this is just a ruse. All this is just whatever. Okay, cool. Gotcha, bro. All right. Well, you know what? When you go to Camden Yards next year or this year, and you start seeing 2,000 people, 500 people show up to your product, and then you're going to sit up there and wonder where all the people go, just understand something. You push them away. There's people in this town who have gone through 30 years of trauma. The people who used to go to Memorial Stadium and chill with Wild Bill Hagee and all of that stuff, those people are gone, bro. It's over. They're dead and gone. They're either retired and too old, or they're dead. Or they've been ran off because they know that this product was not their Orioles, and they walked away. That's where you're at. That's where you're at. So, hey, Rubenstein, hey, when you check your bottom line next year, and you bring back this hack of a GM who's going to just sabotage your product even further, and you have no problem with it, when you find out that half your ticket sales ain't going to go through, that's when you'll find out. That's when you find out. Because in this economy where everything's gone to hell, I'm going to tell you something straight up, brother. Listen, I'll tell you something straight up. There are better things to spend your money on. Better things to spend your money on. Just understand that. That's all. Better things to spend your money on. So when March leaves and May leaves and it starts to get around June, July, you got the beach, you got sunflower festivals, you got concerts to go to, bro. Don't nobody want to sit up here and watch this shit. So anyway, training camp has picked up. That's going to be fun. I'll be doing that. I'll be going to some preseason games. I'll be going to the ones with the Commanders and the one against the Indy, because we don't call them the Colts here in Baltimore. That's just that. And yeah, that's just what's going to happen. And this team can kiss my forever loving ass until you fire Mike Elias. I'm not spending one red nickel in that ballpark until you fire Mike Elias. I'm over it. And this isn't nothing personal. This isn't like, I hate the guy. I never knew the guy. I don't care about knowing the guy. All I'm talking about here is his job as professionally. Professionally, he is a hack. He's a hack professionally. He is not a real GM. He's not. And I'm tired of sitting up here with people trying to convince me that he is. He's not. And yeah, so there's that. Thank you, Mike Elias, David Rubenstein, for taking a storied franchise that needed you to come through and bring them back to glory and turn them into a laughing stock yet again. Thanks. Because that's what our fan base needs. Thank you. Thank you. No biggie. Anytime you want to help, it would be much appreciated. If you have anything else left in the bank, sir, please and thank you. Right. So anyways, so for these ballparks, I'm going to start building them in MLB The Show 24 instead of MLB The Show 25 because I can't navigate with the way things are being done in there with all the misplaced wordage and all that type of stuff. So I think I'm just going to try it in here and just build it from here and just take it from there. And that's that. So, um, they can do whatever they want. They can clean house. It's just don't expect to have a fan base. Pittsburgh is worse. Pittsburgh has an owner that really doesn't respect anybody. And, that franchise hasn't done anything meaningful in over 30 some years. They haven't won a World Series in over 47 years, 46 years. So it's just disrespect. That's all. It's like, as a fan, I don't care for disrespect. It's one thing if you're losing. If you're losing, that happens. And this right here isn't that type of situation. This situation here is you have a perfect storm of mediocrity. Mike Elias does not believe in signing players because Mike Elias does not want to take accountability for giving a big contract to a player who's going to wind up failing. Mike Elias doesn't like spending big on free agents because Mike Elias doesn't want to spend money like everybody else because he believes in his system. He is the right way of doing stuff. He wants to be the anti-Dodgers. He wants to be the anti-Yankees. And that doesn't work in this league because if you're not going to draft pitching and you're not going to create an effective system for your players to thrive in and strive in so that when you call them up, like you promised, that by calling them up, they were going to be raring and ready to go, they would be raring and ready to go. These players are not ready to go because every time you bring them up, like a Colby Mayo or a Dylan Carlson or whoever you bring up, you then don't put them out there to get the experience. So then when they get red hot and they start playing good, you take momentum away from them by putting out bums like Tyler O'Neill, and you put Urias at first when everybody knows Urias is a third baseman. You mess up everything. So with that being factored in, why are you doing what you're doing when all what you're going to do is go against what you originally were trying to do from the jump? That's the whole problem in all of this right here. That's the whole issue. That if you're under the guise of wanting to do something that is going to be productive and successful for your life, why are you taking actions that are counterproductive and counterintuitive to how you are supposed to navigate, right? So, for example, there's this girl who's on social media who is a daughter of this famous hockey guy for the Capitals. And she's 37 years old, And she always complains about like not finding the right guy and all of this stuff. And there was an article that she posted where she was just like giving up on dating or whatever she did for a little bit of time because she found herself in this 2 month casual relationship with this person, which everybody knows what that is if you read between the lines. But, she doesn't understand that like you don't end up single at 37 because of bad luck. You end up single at 37 because your philosophy isn't matching up with your actions. Therefore, you're not getting the outcome that you're looking for. So, for instance, if you're 34 or 35 years old and you find yourself in a 2 month casual dating situation, you need to evaluate why you're making counterintuitive, counterproductive decisions if you want to find yourself in a long lasting relationship. That's just how it goes. See, life works in a way where what you put into it, you get out of it most of the time. Sounds cliche, but that's how it works. It's the same thing about baseball. Baseball is a human game full of the human element. In fact, baseball out of every single sport is still one of the most mystical sports ever created. Mystifying, mysterious. Always something that either goes the right way, goes the wrong way, Murphy's Law, momentum, all that stuff. The only other sport, in my honest opinion, that portrays momentum better is football. Okay? When it comes to baseball, this is a game that was made in 1863 or something earlier, because they were playing baseball pretty early in the United States. During the Civil War era, they were playing baseball. The game hasn't changed that much, in all honesty. A few rules here or there, but the overall nature of the game has not changed at all. Meaning that this game is a human element. You need a human element when it comes to sports. And when you are a math nerd who believes that every single thing is an arbitrary decimal or digit or number, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to put into the computer, due to analytics, this lineup. The reason why I put this lineup through analytics is because I believe that the computer or AI has told me that this is the most effective outcome that's going to give me a win or going to structure where wins are going to go down the season. That's all well and good. But the problem is you're not dealing with computers. You're not dealing with robots. You're dealing with human beings. Baseball is a human element. Baseball is full of superstitions and human elements and all those types of things that the computer can't process. So, yeah, I can put up a lineup that's going to put Adley Rutschman at second, even though he sucks at hitting, and he should be put lower in the lineup. The computer is going to tell you to keep putting him there because, statistically speaking, his whiff and his wind speed and all this type of stuff is supposed to hit. Right, but what do you see with your eyes? Like, what do you see with your eyes when you play him at second? What do you see with your eyes when you go to the ballpark and you see he doesn't have it? There's something wrong. Oh, well, the analytics tells us that we need to put Sagano out there and we need to pull him at second. Right, but he just gave up 7 runs in the first inning. Pull him. This is the problem. Analytics and not using analytics are two extremes that need to die out and go away. People like Mike Elias need to go away, okay? And people with the old school philosophy of Buck Showalter needs to go away. There's a happy medium that you need to meet. If the analytics told you to come up with a lineup, that's fine, that's great. Go with the lineup. When you are in the game and your gut's telling you to go for something and do something, listen to your gut. That's it. They don't do that. That's why all these baseball players on this team are struggling. That's why they all look like little leaguers out there hitting, because they're going by analytics. They're too heavy on analytics. And Mike Elias does not have a human element. I swear, this dude is a cyborg. He lacks any feeling, anything whatsoever. He's like C-3PO. Actually, C-3PO had more human element than this guy. That's your problem. That's your issue in all of this. You don't have pitchers in this game. You got throwers. You have an organization that has the best pitcher that ever pitched in this game, aside from Nolan Ryan, Tom Glavine, Walter Johnson, Cy Young. You have Jim freaking Palmer in your organization. The man is still alive. Please get to him before it's too late. And pick his brain. They don't even allow him to talk to the pitchers. They don't want him near them. This guy is Jim freaking Palmer. This guy won 3 World Series in 3 different decades. One of the only few baseball players to do that, by the way. I think he would know a thing or two about a thing or two. He literally played for one of the most famous Hall of Fame managers in Earl Weaver. I think he would know a thing or two. Why don't you have him talk to the pitchers? You know they won't let him talk to the pitchers? Do you see why now I want to walk away from all of this? You see why now I want to get away from all this? I'm done with this. Because I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know what we're doing. If you're telling me you want to win, fine. Then why are your actions saying differently? Why would you sign Charlie Morton? Why would you sign Charlie Morton? Why would you fire and get rid of one of your most staunch, longevity-having trainers in the building who's been there since 1980-something? He was there when the Orioles were at Memorial Stadium. You fired the man. You let him walk out your building, and you didn't bring anything in better. They cannot do right by people. And it has been this way since they let go of Frank Robinson after the 1971 season. They cannot do right by people. They couldn't do right by Frank. They couldn't do right by Cal. They couldn't do right by Eddie. They couldn't do right by anybody. And then they sit back and wonder why they have all this bad karma. You cannot. If it comes to treating somebody good or treating somebody like crap, they're going to treat somebody like crap. I don't have the time for it no more. I don't. I brought into this rebuild. I was okay with all this stuff. You know, Mike Elias, Astro Ball, all this stuff. And which, me personally, I had given up on Mike Elias after the Astros got caught cheating. Okay? When the Astros got caught cheating back in 2020, I was starting to ask some questions because I was like, wait a minute, whoa. The only reason why this guy got hired was because of his success with the Astros. The Astros cheated to win that World Series. How legitimate is his resume? I can't do it no more. Because, I just can't do it no more. I can't sit up here and, I'll always be an Orioles fan, but my problem isn't with the Orioles themselves. My problem is with the people that come through this town and turn this team into a joke, and then, they F off, they leave, and then you're left with the crumbs. You're left with the stuff to pick up. You're left with that. That's you. They go on, they make their money. They call up on radio shows, they go to country clubs, they can afford a Dom Perignon and all that stuff with the millions of dollars they made off of the sweat and brow from hardworking, blue collar, middle class to poor people who just love this team. This isn't just a game. This isn't just a game, okay? Yeah, it's a game. I'll say it's a game, but it's not a game. There are people in this town who are buried in wherever cemetery they are, respectfully, around Baltimore, around Maryland, around anywhere, that have a Orioles hat on still for forever eternity in the ground. There's somebody buried with an Orioles pillow, an Orioles casket, an Orioles wallet, something, somewhere. This is bigger than it just being a game. It's not just a game. It's not. I know it sounds corny, but it's not. This is about community. This is about winning. Because people don't understand like what winning does to your franchise. People don't understand that. They don't understand that like what winning a World Series does for your city. Just like how most people don't understand like what winning a Super Bowl does for your city. I was a Ravens fan. I've seen what winning the Super Bowl twice has done for Baltimore. And what happens now when we're a decade removed from that and you don't see that anymore. And you see certain businesses run down. You see certain people not doing stuff. It's just like Memorial Stadium. When you took Memorial Stadium away, you took not just a stadium away, you took away a cathedral of community and civic pride. You have to replace that. No one gets it. Michael Elias doesn't get it. He doesn't care. He doesn't. This is his ego project. It's been his ego project since day one. He doesn't give a rat's ass. He doesn't care. You know, I'm really shocked at this harebrained, blind owner that brought this team because the only thing he does is use it for a pet project. This dude's 60-some years old. He ain't got long. You know, this dude's in his 70s or whatever. He grew up with the Orioles the way you remember. He's a D.C. dude. You know how I feel about D.C. people owning Baltimore things. So, you know, this is what it is, man. I'm tired of being used as a joke. You know, I'm tired of being used as a joke. For most of my life, I've sat up here and watched futility after futility after futility after futility. When I was a kid, I grew up watching Comcast Sportsnet every night where I used to mop the floor in the kitchen. I used to stay up late at night, watch Comcast Sportsnet. That's what got me into all this. That's what got me into the Caps, got me into all that stuff. I used to stay up late at night watching that stuff. And sit up there and listen to, Jerry Harrison Jr. talk about going to the World Series, and the Orioles team did nothing. Sat up there and watched Jeff Conine do nothing. Sat up there and watched Tony Batista do nothing. Year in and year out. I'm tired. I'm tired of it. This isn't about like being a real fan or anything like that. This goes beyond that. This year is intolerable because this year is about respect. Like on a human intelligence level, about respect. And I truly believe Mike Elias does not respect your intelligence. He doesn't respect my intelligence. He is an ego-driven person who is taking people's precious time and is just literally ruining a good franchise. Because if you're not going through a rebuild, then what is this? I don't have the wherewithal or the patience anymore to I saw everything. I've seen everything I needed to see this season. I'm gonna just put it like that. I've seen everything I needed to see this season. And then on top of that, you take $600 million that honestly could have went towards something better in this town, could have went to education, because Lord knows the city needs it, and all they do is keep stealing money down there and all this type of crap, and put it towards building. Both the Ravens and the Orioles took $600 million, and instead of fixing the upper deck, fixing the bathrooms, they go in and they do like what every other person does. They appeal to the people who make a whole boatload of money and don't give a damn about the teams that they're looking at in the lounges or in the club rooms. So the Orioles basically are going to gut their press box and turn that into a, rich, nan, boo-boo, you're poor, I'm not room. Okay. And do that. And do that for next season. That's their thanks to you. Taking your hard-earned money as a taxpayer to build a place in a ballpark that's already expensive enough to get in, to build a room you're never going to touch or you're never going to see. Ravens do the same exact thing. They got the Black Wing Lounge. You're never going to afford that. You know, they're like $5,000 a seat. You know who's going to be down there? CEOs, companies. They're going to rent out rooms on their job budgets and stuff. That's nothing for poor lowly little serfs like you and myself. I'm over this. I'm done with this. What is this about? Are we about winning? Of course, David Rubenstein called it a philanthropy project. I don't really know what a philanthropy project consists of making a $400 million press box. I'm over this. You know, I'm type person, man. Like, I take the Ravens, I take the Orioles, I take the Caps, Wizards. I take this stuff seriously because it's not a game. It is about civic pride. When the players go away, when the season's done, and they flock off to wherever they go, the city still loves these teams. Even though most of these players don't give a rat's butt about like players and teams. Marlon Humphrey is a huge transgressor of that. He don't give a crap about you as a fan. And people flock to his YouTube. They give that dude all the attention in the world. And this dude literally stands up here and doesn't even want to give autographs to kids. This is like, this is the crap you put up. This is what's with sports right now. And you say to yourself, like, what did I sign up for when I did this? Like, I'm done with this. I can't do this crap no more. I don't know what's going to happen to Orioles. I have no faith whatsoever that the product that they're going to put out next year is going to be better than this one. Because the guy who's in charge of it has done nothing but screw this thing up. So, sounds like a conversation about MLB The Show, doesn't it? It's both interchangeable. So what's the point? What are we talking about? What are we doing? Well, folks, I'm going to be wrapping up here soon. Did not expect to go into my tirade about the Orioles, but let's see how many people are in here. No one watching, so everybody ran off. So this is where things are going to go. I'm going to just put out small put-togethers of ballparks and then go back and fully complete them. I will catch you guys around. I will see you all later.